History and culture was celebrated on February 7th and 8th at the Gulf Coast Historical and Cultural Exposition held at the Biloxi Visitors Center. This year's event was dedicated in the memory of local historian Edmund Boudreaux. The exhibit opened a window to the past as historians from across the coast displayed photos, artifacts, and shared interpretations of what is remembered. A special collection of art was on display. Bill Raymond, Historical Administrator for the City of Biloxi, described this year's event.
You know, at the Visitor Center, we always felt like Keesler was not representative enough here, because when you're telling the story of Biloxi, you can't tell it without telling the story of Keesler. So this is an opportunity to us to connect the Keesler Air Force Base and the city more together. And this all came out of just a conversation that the commander of the base and myself had, and that we really wanted to work closer together. And this art exhibit here is one of the examples of those projects we're working on, along with the history, the permanent display on the history of Keesler that's back in our gallery.
I noticed that there are also civilians and the military being represented here.
Yes, we wanted it open to all of Team Keesler, because it's not just the enlisted. It takes a lot of people to make what they do happen over there. You know, it's a huge operation, and so all of those people make up Team Keesler. So of course the art exhibit was going to be open to everyone too.
And another thing was happening this past weekend with Preservation Week. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, this past weekend we did our Historical and Cultural Expo. It's something we've been doing the last few years, and it's outgrow of the old History Week that the local Gulf Coast Historical Society would put on. This is a chance for all the different cultural and historical organizations and museums all along the coast, from Jackson County, Harrison County, and Hancock County, to get together and to talk about what they do and to help spread their mission. And it's open to the public, and we had great turnout for the last 2 days. And we also had a presentation hall where people could hear stories on what the Coastal Land Trust is doing, or about the Cassette Girls. There were lots of different programs, so there's something to appeal to everyone. And we had a trivia game where people could win prizes.
Well, Jane, we're here in the Visitors Center for Celebrating History in February, something you do annually. What's going on in here today?
This is a great celebration. We have lots and lots of exhibits here. We're in a perfect location, a building that looks like the old Dancer House, but it's not. And so today we're going to assemble several groups of people who are interested in preserving history, sharing history, talking to people. We're going to have hundreds of people come through here. As an example, we'll have historical societies, Biloxi Public Schools, some of the groups that do work out in the public with libraries and so forth. And we will be sharing our information and talking to people in a historical note.
There's a lot of things along this table here that we'll take a closer look at.
Sure.
But could you tell me what's all about on your history table?
Okay, we have two tables today. Because I'm managing the local history and genealogy department, I always accent the instruments, things that we have in our collection for the Historical Society as well. So for the library, we have the amazing Chauncey Hinman image collection, which has just been added and donated within the last few months. So this is, the pictures that you see are perfect examples of how photography and tourism go together. On the next table here, we took out some things from the Historical Society, which has been in existence here from the 1960s. There's all sorts of journals that they write. We're kind of slowed down a little bit on all that. We're trying to get it revitalized. But there's things here to celebrate the early history of the coast, meaning the early French settlers coming, the little things that they use, the shoes and so forth. So this is a perfect opportunity for people to learn and talk to us about what used to be here.
You have some stories in your hand.
Yes, I do.
A piece of history there. How can people find out what you have and how they might use it at the genealogical department and history at the library?
Okay, so we're not going to talk just about history, but the library represents, besides an amazing history collection along the coast, we have a special genealogy research center as well. So if you're looking to do your family genealogy or or you're trying to find a story in the newspaper of a crime or something that happened, or a legal ad or something along the coast, in the Daily Herald, Sun Herald, we do have it on microfilm, and this is what I have here. So basically, microfilm is the old way of doing things, but it's still in some ways the best way. So there's a company that would film every single page of the newspaper, and they'd put it on film, and we would get the rolls of film. This particular rolls, maybe about $250. Put it in a special machine that we have, go to the correct page, and you can see it really big, or you can print it. And so then, if you're looking for obituaries on your family, this is a perfect place to go.
Well, Tim, this is your family history here.
Yes, these are my third great grandparents, and if you look at the pictures of both of these persons, they both have Indian lineage. My great grandmother, she has 5/8 Indian, so I have about 1/64 Choctaw Indian. She was a farm. Her mother was a ladner, and her great grandfather had the original land grant to Point Cadet in Biloxi years ago. And all my uncles and relatives on the Fayard family had basically all the original land grants to Biloxi.
Wings level, wings level, wings level. There you go. Wings level, you got it, Sebastian. Fly that airplane, wings level. Get those wings level. There you go. Up, go up. Pull, a little bit. Remember where the light goes on top of there? There you go, Sebastian.
All right, he's learning how to fly.
Yeah, well, the Mississippi Aviation Heritage Museum, that's what we do. We teach people how to fly. And we invite everybody to come. We'll be opening this spring around April. And this has been a labor of love for many, many people that has worked to make it happen. They come every weekend to work, all volunteer labor. We have built a beautiful facility. We have 7 airplanes. We have 10 flight simulators that kids can play with. It is fantastic what we're building. And it's going to have a lot of entertainment. All the heroes and aviation heritage is going to be highlighted. Very good.
Pat, you're holding a piece of history here.
I certainly am. This is the original Seawall, and people say, oh, when was it torn down? Well, it was never torn down. All of that sand you see out there is covering it up. So if you actually kind of went past where your sidewalk is, dug down a little bit, you would find this. And when I was growing up, this was our beach. We had no sand. We walked down the stairs directly into the water. And I think somebody probably in the Chamber of Commerce decided, oh, we need a beach. But the amazing thing about this structure, this was built back in I think in the 1920s. And it's 26 miles, a little bit over 26 miles long. And the Shaw architectural firm built this. Mr. Shaw designed and built this in 2 years. Yes, 2 years. The entire thing. Wouldn't that be amazing if we could get that much built in today's world in 2 years? And the even more amazing thing is it's still there. Like I said, it's covered up, but it is still there.
Well, I'm Bill Raymond. I'm the Historical Administrator for Biloxi, and I'm so glad y'all are here this morning. I want to recognize our mayors here this morning, and representative from District 115?
117.
117, Kevin Felcher is here this morning. I really appreciate they could make it this morning. And I'm going to start by introducing the mayor.
Okay. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Like I said, our future is built on the appreciation of our history, and Edmund and his family, and of course y'all, putting this together is just terrific. And I hope we have good weather for the next couple of days, right? So it's a great, it's a great honor and pleasure to see all of these things of our past, and because it means great things are in our future, because great things have been done in our past. So I thank everyone for participating in this, and everybody who put this together. So with that,
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate you being here. And now, Kevin asked to come this morning because he wanted to say a few words. So, Kevin Felcher.
That's not entirely correct. It is true that I do want to say a few words.
Okay, he was kind of corrosive.
Thank you, Bill. I don't know who's a politician, me or you. It's my honor to speak a little bit about Edmund and just a couple stories. When I was growing up on the Point, I would be at my great grandmother's home. A man would show up, and he would always have a smile, a pencil, and a pad, and a Bell South van. And I always thought, Grandma, you got a lot of phone troubles. But it wasn't that. He was there taking notes and asking her about the lineage of the family. And little did I know, what I was watching was the making of really one of the most premier historians we had on the coast. I would go to the library with my mother. Same man there. Van would be outside the library. He'd be looking at what they called microfiche. Some of you know what that is, some of you don't. Old phone books, census, he would be looking at. I always asked my mom, what is he doing? She'd say, research. So I thought, man, this man does a lot of research. And then fast forward to my first year of community college. My history teacher says, look, I want y'all all to bring in your genealogy that you have. And I thought, oh my God, I don't have any. So I go and speak with my grandmother, and she says, call Cousin Edmund. He can help you. And I called him, and in true Edmund Boudreaux fashion, where you want to meet? When? We met at the library. He gave me a dossier. Went back to, I think, the 1500s. I'm not kidding. I showed up, and my instructor's eyes were huge. She said, what is that? I said, that's my genealogy. And she said, where did you get this from? I said, my cousin, Edmund. She said, you're lucky. And I said, yeah, I know I am. And all the other guys had maybe 2 or 3 sheets. I had a binder. I then began to appreciate, but not fully, Edmund Boudreaux. And then all the events I would go to that I was interested in, he would be at. Whether it was the reenactment of the landings, the cemetery tours, even my leadership class. I mean, this guy popped up everywhere to give a talk to my leadership class. I don't think I knew of a person who gave more back to the community than Edmund Boudreaux. So it's fitting that we honor him today, and thank you for doing that, Victor.
We also found out we're cousins. His great-great-grandmother and my great-grandmother were sisters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Edmund was one of those guys, no matter what you needed, if I called him, he was there. If it was to speak to the junior leadership class every year, he was there. Just tell him what day, what time, and he made it. Anything that we needed, if we were looking for research, Edmund was right there. If we needed something written, he was right there. If someone steals a stained glass window after Katrina from the pile that was the Dantzler house, and we know it's somebody from Mississippi Power, Edmund found that window for me. He was always there no matter what you needed. And, he is definitely missed by everyone in this room and will always be missed. But I'd like to now introduce Jane Chamber from the local history and genealogy department at the Biloxi Library, who wants to say a few things.
Thank you, Bill. This is an amazing day and a perfect way to honor Edmund for all the things he's done through all the years. He's been doing things with us and for us for decades. He started out with the Historical Society back when it was formulated in the 60s and 70s. If you look in the Historical Society journals, you will see all kinds of things that you have never heard of before that he wrote about. So he has an amazing history of what he wrote. Not only with the Historical Society, but he also has at least 4 books that he's written that we proudly have in our library. He's written for the Biloxi d'Iberville Press. He was involved with the archaeological programs and projects here along the coast. So his legacy is none other. It's not comparable to anybody else that I can think of that's done all these things. So we're pretty proud of what he did. We're proud to be able to honor him. over and over again. If you want to come and visit some of the writings that he has produced, we have them in the library right down the street in the local history department. So we're excited to do this. It's under sad circumstances, but it's under happy circumstances as well, because now we can list and show and share everything that he's done throughout his years. And in the library, you'd be surprised how many people will come and visit us. And they'll talk about Edmund, they'll talk about all the things he did and he knows, and he's still with us. Everybody still talks about him every single day. So it's kind of neat because there's nobody else like that on the coast that we can honor in that way. So when he would visit the library, more recently and forever and ever, decades ago, he would come in with a pencil and a paper and a tablet or whatever he had, and he says, I need to see a city directory because I'm writing an article and I just need to check something. I just want to be sure that it's right. And he knew our resources, he knew where to look, and he would check and to be sure that it's correct. So we're pretty proud of what we have that he's done, and we hope that you will continue to come and visit the things that he's written. I'd like to introduce Laurie.
Thank you.
Ask him to come on.
Family, please come up. Virginia, sons, grandchildren, please come up. You've just gotten a little taste of what he means to all of us by what you've heard from everybody so far. I just want to talk about his contribution to the event that I help produce every year, and that's the Old Biloxi Cemetery Tour. When I first called him to be in it, I never dreamed he'd say yes. I knew he was so busy and had so many irons in the fire, but he immediately said yes, and he took to it like a duck to water. Loved it, absolutely loved it. Loved every character he portrayed, dug deep into each character, inspired all of us on the committee to keep going, keep reaching, keep telling those stories, because they're endless. And without his inspiration, I'm not sure how I'll go on, because he meant that much to me in this project. But I know that he's behind me saying, keep going, keep going, keep going. So that's how we'll do it. We compiled all of his cemetery tour portrayals into one DVD for the family, and it's been shared on BTV, which is Biloxi TV, and it's playing right now for everyone to see. And if I had to use one word, and we use this word a little bit in Main Street, he's a fire soul. He was a fire soul. He was so intense and enthusiastic and loved every bit of Biloxi history and wanted it told. And he will touch countless generations from here on out. His reach is endless. And we thank you for sharing him with us. Thank you so much.